Stop everything, right now. Listen, really listen. The reason you feel heavy, tired, emotionally drained, and stuck, it's not what happened to you. It's what you refuse to let go. You're still carrying conversations that ended years ago. You're replaying memories that will never come back. You're leaking your energy, your focus, your life force into people, moments, and emotions that have no place in your future. Let me make this brutally clear. Letting go is not weakness. Letting go is discipline, the kind of discipline that separates the ordinary from the unstoppable. If you master this, you will reclaim your focus, your power, and your peace forever. And in this audiobook, I'm going to reveal the hidden rules almost nobody follows, the secret steps that free you completely, the kind of knowledge that can change your life in a single moment. Chapter 1. 1. Stop holding what already left. Listen carefully. Because most of your emotional pain is not coming from what happened. It's coming from what you refuse to release. You are holding something that already left your life. A person who chose distance, a version of yourself that no longer exists, an expectation that reality already rejected. And instead of calling it attachment, you call it loyalty. Instead of calling it fear, you call it love. Instead of calling it resistance, you call it hope. But let me tell you the truth, clearly and without comfort. What has left you does not deserve your energy, not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your future. Pain does not stay alive on its own. Pain survives because you keep feeding it. You replay the conversation. You imagine different endings. You ask yourself, what if, and if only. And every time you do that, you reopen a wound that was already closing. This is not healing. This is self-sabotage. Most people don't suffer because of breakups. They suffer because they refuse to accept that the breakup is final. Most people don't suffer because of failure. They suffer because they keep identifying as the person who failed. Most people don't suffer because of betrayal. They suffer because they keep returning mentally to the moment trust was broken. Let me give you a real example. Two people go through the same breakup. One acknowledges the pain, grieves, and moves forward. The other keeps checking messages, stalking social media, replaying memories, rewriting history. Same event, completely different outcomes. Why? Because one person stopped holding what already left. The other didn't. Holding on feels productive. It feels like you're doing something, but in reality, you are delaying your freedom. Here is what you must stop doing. Stop romanticizing what ended. Stop giving emotional explanations to people who made their decision clear. Stop investing energy into people, places, and identities that are no longer aligned with your future. And here is what you must start doing. Name reality as it is, not as you wish it were, not as it once was. Reality does not negotiate. If something left your life, it left because it could not go where you are going. Say this to yourself, slowly and repeatedly, what has left me does not deserve my energy. What has left me does not deserve my energy. What has left me does not deserve my energy. This is discipline. This is emotional maturity. This is strength. Letting go is not forgetting. Letting go is deciding that your future matters more than your past. You are not erasing memories. You are removing their authority. And when you stop holding what already left, something powerful happens. Your mind becomes quieter. Your body becomes lighter. Your focus returns, because energy flows where attention goes. And today, you take your attention back. You don't chase closure. You don't beg for understanding. You don't argue with reality. You release. You have learned the first discipline. Stop holding what already left. Now that you understand this truth, you must face the deeper reason you stayed attached in the first place. Because what traps you is not the loss itself. It's the attachment you refuse to break. And that takes us to the next chapter. Chapter 2. Your attachment is the real prison. Chapter 2. Your attachment is the real prison. Listen closely, because what you are about to hear will change how you understand pain. It is not the memory that traps you. It is not the event. It is not the person. What traps you is your attachment to how things should have been. You keep telling yourself a story where they stayed, a story where you succeeded earlier, a story where life followed your plan. And every time reality refuses that story, you suffer. This is not bad luck. This is resistance. Say this clearly because repetition creates clarity. Acceptance is freedom. Resistance is suffering. Most people think acceptance means giving up. It doesn't. Acceptance means you stop arguing with what already happened. Here is the truth most people avoid. You can survive anything, except the refusal to accept it. Look at people who have been emotionally stuck for years. The man who lost a relationship and still talks about it a decade later. The woman who failed once and made failure her identity. The person who was betrayed and now lives in permanent suspicion. Their pain didn't come from the event. It came from the decision to never let the event end. Attachment freezes time. It locks you in a mental prison where the door is open, but you refuse to walk out. Because walking out requires acceptance, and acceptance feels like loss. But resistance costs more. Resistance costs your peace. Resistance costs your clarity. Resistance costs your future. Say it again. Acceptance is freedom. Resistance is suffering. Now listen carefully to what you must stop doing. Stop bargaining with the past. Stop replaying if only and what if. Stop waiting for reality to apologize. Reality does not apologize. Reality moves forward, with or without you. And here is what you must start doing. You accept without justification. You accept without explanation. You accept without waiting for emotional comfort. Acceptance does not require understanding. It requires decision. I accept that this ended. I accept that this changed. I accept that this version of life is over. When you accept, energy releases. When you resist, energy tightens. This is why resistance feels heavy in your body, tight chest, restless mind, constant tension. Your body already knows the truth. Your mind is just late to accept it. Let me be clear. Acceptance does not mean you approve. Acceptance means you stop bleeding energy into what cannot be changed. You are not betraying the past by accepting it. You are protecting the future. And when acceptance becomes your discipline, something powerful happens. You stop being emotionally reactive. You stop being mentally stuck. You stop being controlled by old outcomes because you are no longer fighting reality. Say it one more time, slowly. Acceptance is freedom. Resistance is suffering. This chapter gave you the key, but a key is useless if you don't practice using it. Acceptance must be trained. It must be applied daily. It must become automatic. And that brings us to the next level, because letting go is not a one-time decision. It is a daily discipline. You've seen the prison. Now it's time to build the muscle that keeps you free. Chapter 3. Emotional control is a daily practice. Listen carefully, because most people misunderstand emotional control. They think emotional strength means never feeling anything. They think discipline means suppressing emotion. They think letting go happens once, and then it's over. That is wrong. Letting go is not a moment. It is a muscle. And like every muscle, it is built through daily practice. You do not wake up one day emotionally disciplined. You train yourself into it, one reaction at a time. Here is the truth. You cannot control what emotion shows up, but you can control how long it stays. Mentally strong people understand this. They do not fight emotions. They do not dramatize emotions. They do not obey emotions. They process them. Say this with me because repetition creates mastery. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Release it. This is the sequence, not skip it, not drown in it, not become it. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Release it. Let me show you how emotionally disciplined people operate. An insult comes. They feel the sting, but they don't react. They acknowledge, "I felt that." Then they release it, without revenge, explanation, or rumination. A setback happens. They feel disappointment. They acknowledge reality. Then they redirect focus to the next action. An old memory resurfaces. They feel the emotion. They acknowledge its presence. Then they let it pass without reopening the story. This is not emotional coldness. This is emotional control. Now let's talk about what you must stop doing. Stop identifying with every emotion. Stop saying this is who I am because of how you feel. Stop making permanent decisions based on temporary emotions. Emotions are signals, not commands. And here is what you must start doing. Create space between stimulus and response. That space is your power. When emotion appears, pause. Name it. Breathe. Release it. Say it again. Feel it. Acknowledge it. Release it. This is not passive. This is active discipline. At first, it will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will want to react. Your ego will want to speak. Your past will want to take control. Do not follow it. Every time you pause instead of reacting, you strengthen the muscle. Every time you release instead of holding, you reclaim energy. Every time you choose discipline, you loosen the grip of the past. This is how mentally strong people are built. Not through motivation, through repetition. They practice emotional control in traffic, in conversations, in silence, in disappointment, small moments, daily reps. And over time, something changes. What once triggered you no longer controls you. What once drained you no longer follows you. What once ruled you no longer reaches you, because you trained yourself to let go, daily. But there is one habit that destroys this discipline faster than anything else. One habit that reopens wounds again and again. One habit that pretends to be healing, but keeps you trapped. And if you don't eliminate it, emotional control will never last. Chapter 4. Stop reopening old wounds. Listen carefully, because this chapter will save you years of unnecessary pain. Revisiting old pain feels familiar, and familiarity feels safe, but familiarity is not healing. Most people don't realize this, but they reopen their own wounds. Daily. Not intentionally, not consciously, but habitually. They go back to the same memories, the same conversations, the same moments where things went wrong. And every time they do, the wound bleeds again. Say this clearly because repetition creates truth. You heal by moving forward, not by revisiting. Pain that is healed no longer demands attention. Pain that is revisited never gets the chance to close. Now let's talk about the most common ways people reopen old wounds. First, social media. You scroll, you look, you compare. You check on people who no longer belong in your present. One image, one update, one reminder, and suddenly your nervous system is back in the past. Social media is not neutral for the undisciplined mind. It is a time machine. Second, late-night thinking. The world goes quiet, distractions fade, and your mind turns against you. This is when old stories return. This is when regret gets louder. This is when you convince yourself that revisiting the past is processing. It's not. It's reopening. Third, isolation. Isolation without intention becomes rumination, and rumination turns memories into prisons. You sit alone, replaying what happened, not to heal, but to feel something familiar. Let me be clear. Healing is not about understanding the pain more. Healing is about reducing its influence. Say it again. You heal by moving forward, not by revisiting. Now here is what you must stop doing. Stop checking on people who hurt you. Stop mentally rehearsing conversations that are already over. Stop going back to emotional places that no longer serve your growth. You are not being honest, you are being attached. And here is what you must start doing. Create rules, not feelings, rules. No late-night emotional analysis, No unnecessary digital exposure, no silent suffering without action. When the mind pulls you backward, move the body forward, stand up, walk, breathe, redirect. Motion breaks rumination. Understand this. Scabs fall off when left alone. But if you keep picking at them, they never heal. Your emotional wounds are no different. Every revisit delays recovery. Every scroll reopens pain. Every mental replay drains energy. Discipline is not about being harsh. It's about being protective. You protect your mind by refusing unnecessary access to the past. And when you stop reopening old wounds, something powerful happens. Your emotional reactions soften. Your thinking clears. Your nervous system calms. Because the past is no longer being fed. You are learning how to let go, not by force, but by refusal. Refusal to revisit. Refusal to reopen. Refusal to relive. You heal by moving forward, not by revisiting. You have now closed the door to unnecessary pain. But there is one more habit that keeps wounds alive, even when you stop revisiting them. The habit of explaining yourself. The habit of seeking understanding. The habit of giving your pain a voice. And that habit must end. You've learned to stop reopening wounds. Now you must learn the discipline that seals them shut. Chapter 5. Silence is the ultimate release. Listen carefully. Because this lesson will feel uncomfortable, and discomfort is where discipline is built. Most people believe talking heals everything. They believe explaining brings closure. They believe being understood is necessary for peace. That belief is costing them their freedom. Explaining your pain keeps it alive. Silence starves it. Every time you explain what happened, you relive it. Every time you justify yourself, you reopen the wound. Every time you seek validation, you give your power away. Say this clearly because repetition creates strength. You don't owe closure to everyone. Not everyone deserves an explanation. Not everyone is capable of understanding. And not everyone needs access to your inner world. Let me give you real examples. A man leaves a toxic workplace. At first, he explains himself to everyone. Why he left, what went wrong, who was unfair. He feels drained, restless, angry. Then one day, he stops explaining. No speeches, no defense, just action. Peace follows. A woman ends a relationship. She keeps telling the story. Friends, family, even strangers. Each retelling keeps the emotions alive. Then she goes silent. No explanations, no updates, no emotional summaries. Clarity returns. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is completion. Now let's be clear about what silence is and what it is not. Silence is not repression. Silence is not denial. Silence is not weakness. Silence is restraint. Silence is discipline. Silence is emotional self-respect. Here is what you must stop doing. Stop explaining yourself to people who already decided how they see you. Stop defending decisions that protect your peace. Stop turning your pain into a story for public consumption. Your healing does not require an audience. And here is what you must start doing. Let your actions speak. Let your distance speak. Let your consistency speak. When you feel the urge to explain, pause. Ask yourself, is this for clarity or for validation? If it's for validation, release it. Say it again. You don't owe closure to everyone. Some people will never understand. And that's fine. Understanding is not a requirement for peace. Silence ends emotional negotiations. Silence ends power struggles. Silence closes loops that words keep open. And when you practice silence, something changes. Your nervous system relaxes. Your mind clears. Your energy returns. Because you are no longer feeding the past with words. You are learning the discipline of release. Not through explanation, but through restraint. But silence alone is not enough. There is still one chain that keeps many people emotionally bound, even when they stop revisiting, even when they stop explaining. That chain is resentment. You've learned to stop talking about the pain. Now you must learn to release what remains inside. Because forgiveness is not about them. It's about you. And that brings us forward. Chapter 6. Forgiveness is for you, not them. Listen carefully. Because this chapter will challenge the way you've been taught to think about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not approval. Forgiveness is not agreement. Forgiveness is not saying what happened was acceptable. Forgiveness is emotional self-defense. When you refuse to forgive, you don't punish the other person. You punish yourself, daily. Say this slowly, because repetition builds understanding. Unforgiveness costs more than forgiveness ever will. Most people hold on to resentment because they think letting go means losing power. In reality, resentment is the leash. The person who hurt you may have moved on. They may be sleeping peacefully. They may not even remember the moment that still lives in your mind. And yet, you carry it. That is not justice. That is self-inflicted suffering. Let me give you real examples. A man was betrayed by a business partner. For years, he replayed the injustice. Every decision was filtered through bitterness. The moment he released resentment, not trust, not boundaries, but resentment, his thinking cleared. His focus returned. His progress accelerated. A woman was disrespected repeatedly in a relationship. She left, but she carried anger into every new connection. Nothing felt safe. When she forgave, not to reconcile but to release, her emotional clarity returned. Her standards strengthened. Her peace stabilized. Forgiveness does not reconnect you to the person. It disconnects you from the pain. Now listen to what you must stop doing. Stop replaying the offense to justify your anger. Stop telling yourself resentment keeps you protected. Stop confusing emotional armor with emotional weight. Resentment does not make you stronger. It makes you heavier. And here is what you must start doing. Forgive privately, forgive quietly, forgive without announcement. Forgiveness is not a conversation. It is a decision. You say, I release this from my nervous system. I refuse to carry this further. I choose clarity over control. Say it again. Unforgiveness costs more than forgiveness ever will. Forgiveness returns your energy. It returns your focus. It returns your ability to move forward without dragging the past behind you. You don't forgive because they deserve peace. You forgive because you deserve peace. And when you forgive, something powerful happens. You stop reacting. You stop ruminating. You stop giving the past a voice. You are no longer emotionally available to old wounds. This is not weakness. This is mastery. But even after forgiveness, there is one trap that can quietly rebuild emotional suffering. The obsession with outcomes. The need to control how things turn out. The attachment to results. You've released resentment. Now you must release expectation. Because true freedom requires detachment. And that brings us forward. Chapter 7. Detach from outcomes. Focus on action. Listen carefully. Because this is one of the most overlooked disciplines of mental mastery. Most people fail, not because they lack talent, intelligence, or opportunity, but because they are obsessed with outcomes. They fixate on results. They replay scenarios. They worry about approval, recognition, or validation, and in doing so, they give their power away. Obsession with outcomes creates anxiety. Commitment to action creates peace. Say this clearly, because repetition creates discipline. Control the effort. Release the result. Think about it. You cannot control the opinions of others. You cannot control the timing of success. You cannot control the events outside your effort. All you can control is what you do. All you can control is how much effort you put in. All you can control is the consistency of your action. Let me give you examples. A career professional prepares a presentation. They obsess over how management will respond. They worry if it will impress or fail. They overthink every word, every slide. They are paralyzed. Another professional focuses on perfecting their work, giving their best, and presenting confidently. They accept the response will be whatever it will be. They do not chase approval, they only deliver effort. And because they are detached from the outcome, they remain calm, adaptable, and ultimately successful. A relationship example. Someone obsesses over whether their partner will love them fully, react the right way, or meet expectations. They become anxious, insecure, and controlling. Another person focuses on being present, kind, and authentic, detached from the outcome. They act with integrity, communicate clearly, and let the results unfold. Their peace is intact, regardless of how the other responds. Personal growth example. You cannot control if people applaud your progress or understand your choices. You can control showing up every day. You can control your habits, your effort, and your focus. And when you release the need for external validation, freedom returns. Now listen carefully to what you must stop doing. Stop evaluating every action based on the result it might produce. Stop tying your worth to approval, outcomes, or recognition. Stop overanalyzing, second-guessing, and replaying possibilities in your mind. And here is what you must start doing. Control the effort, release the result, focus on action, not reaction. Say it again. Control the effort. Release the result. Every time you act, measure only your discipline and consistency. Not the applause, not the recognition, not the outcome. This is not laziness. This is mastery. Your peace is not found in winning. It is found in showing up. Your power is not in the result. It is in the effort. When you detach from outcomes, something profound happens. Stress decreases. Energy increases. Your focus sharpens. Your mind becomes a tool, not a battlefield. And here is the key. Detachment from outcomes is not escape. It is empowerment. You take back control of your energy. You reclaim your clarity. You reclaim your freedom. But even with detachment, one more barrier can hold you back. That barrier is attachment to who you think you are. The identity of the old self can limit your next steps. To move fully forward, you must shed the old version of you. And that leads us to the next chapter, chapter 8. Let go of who you used to be. Listen carefully, because this is where most people sabotage their own transformation without even realizing it. The old version of you cannot lead the new life you want. Your past habits, outdated beliefs, and former identity will resist the changes necessary for growth. And yet most people cling to them, believing loyalty to who they were is honor. It is not. It is stagnation. It is an invisible chain keeping you small. Say this clearly, because repetition builds understanding. Evolution requires release. Think about it. How can a person who was defined by fear, doubt, or hesitation suddenly embody courage, confidence, and decisiveness if they keep identifying with who they were yesterday? Many people stay stuck because they are loyal to outdated identities. The professional who failed once and now refuses to try again says, "That's not me anymore." But secretly, they are still the scared version of themselves. The person who was betrayed clings to victimhood, claiming it defines their reality. The dreamer who abandoned their goals keeps telling themselves, "I tried, it didn't work," forgetting that growth demands persistence, not nostalgia. Here is the truth. Clinging to your old self feels safe. It feels familiar. It is comfortable. But comfort never created progress. Comfort never produced transformation. Comfort never built the life you want. Now let's talk about what you must stop doing. Stop identifying with the past version of yourself. Stop using "I've always been this way" as an excuse. Stop letting previous failures or regrets dictate your next move. And here is what you must start doing. Release the old identity. Refuse its authority over your present. Step into the version of yourself capable of what you desire. Say it again. Evolution requires release. Every habit you outgrow, every belief you challenge, every outdated pattern you discard is an act of liberation. It is a declaration that your future matters more than your past. When you let go of who you used to be, something powerful happens. You stop self-sabotaging. You stop making decisions from fear. You stop letting history define your potential. Your identity becomes fluid, adaptable, and resilient. You become a person capable of the life you are building, not the life you left behind. 9. Release is a lifestyle, not a phase. Listen carefully, because this is the chapter where transformation becomes permanent. Letting go is not an event. It is not a decision you make once and forget. It is not a phase you try for a week or a month. Letting go must become automatic, a lifestyle, a daily discipline. Most people fail at emotional freedom because they treat release like a project. They do it occasionally. They try it when motivated. They abandon it when tired, upset, or distracted. But emotional mastery is not seasonal. It is consistent. It is relentless. It is habitual. Say this clearly, because repetition creates transformation. I release what no longer serves me. Let me give you real examples of how disciplined minds make release a lifestyle. Some people begin their day by reviewing what truly matters. They acknowledge what they cannot control. They let go of grudges, past failures, and unnecessary distractions before stepping into action. Others journal nightly. They write down lingering thoughts, regrets, or anxieties. And then, without debate, argument, or explanation, they release them. Some people even practice micro-releases throughout the day. One negative thought appears. They notice it, label it, and let it go. One past memory surfaces. They observe, acknowledge, and release. They do not linger. They do not resist. They do not rehearse. This is not occasional self-care. This is emotional engineering. This is mastery in motion. Now let's talk about what you must stop doing. Stop treating release like a one-time event. Stop believing motivation alone will free you. Stop waiting for perfect circumstances to let go. And here is what you must start doing. Practice release daily. Practice release relentlessly. Practice release until it becomes second nature. Say it again. I release what no longer serves me. Every time you repeat this mantra, you train your nervous system to let go. Every habit of release reduces the grip of the past. Every disciplined act frees energy for the present. When release becomes a lifestyle, something powerful happens. You stop carrying unnecessary weight. You stop reacting to triggers. You stop giving power to what is already gone. Your mind becomes clearer. Your body becomes lighter. Your focus becomes unstoppable. And here is the ultimate truth. Letting go is not just an action. It is a way of living. It is how you protect your peace. It is how you reclaim your time. It is how you reclaim your life. You now understand the truth. Nothing is holding you back except what you refuse to release. The past is done. The pain has already spoken. The lesson has already been delivered. Your responsibility now is discipline. Discipline to stop revisiting. Discipline to stop reacting. Discipline to stop carrying what was never meant to come with you. So here is your challenge. Starting today, every time your mind reaches backward, cut it off. Every time emotion tries to control you, pause and release. Let go, not because it's easy, but because your future demands it. Choose discipline, choose peace, and walk forward unburdened.